So, dear colleagues, I'll ask you when the presentation is over, please leave through the door, through the front door. And I'll explain why, because the ones who left this room from the central door put a sad face sticker, and those who leave from the front door put smiling stickers. So for you it makes no difference, but for us it's just a nice thing. Maybe the atmosphere, if you leave through that door, is better, so please. Well, I like to check whether it's really so. Somehow our discussion time ran really fast, and now we're about to start analyzing the cases. If you think that a case implies having an answer from the speakers, it is not. Every Monday in the 11 evening we had a joint phone call and we tried to think of it, but it was hard to find an agreement. Now time has come. The case is called. The key thing is to get the project, and then let's see what happens afterwards. So we have a situation, we have a project, we have a case. Tell me, please, have you ever met such a situation? Have you ever encountered a case? The key thing is to get the project, and then let's see. Please raise up hands if it happened. So I see that such things happen. You have been into such a situation. An initial situation is that you evaluated the labor courses for 500 hours. But if their labor hours are 500, it won't be possible to pay them back. So that's why you reduce the amount of working hours up to 300 man hours.
Я хочу, чтобы тебя люди заметили, как бы, что ты есть. Вот. Ну, если ты поделишься, нам будет важно.
So, okay, the mic is on the side, and I gave you the mics just because for the answer. Well, the answer to the question is that if you reduce the number of man hours from the planned one to the smaller one, and then what happens after that? They were not working any longer because the man hours are running out. So the answer is that there are other things, not only money. Sometimes motivation is important. It's important to finish the project. You are saying this in what capacity? My position in the company is a tester, and I'm talking about this from the tester's perspective. Okay, please come to me at the end of this talk. We'll talk about this separately. Does anyone want to say anything to protect version 1? See, version 1.0 is our basic plan, and we should agree with it. If from the very start we will say, okay, we will trust upon having their safe option. My name is Mikhail Polyantyv, Sberbank 2, in favor of version 1.0. It's great if we're being heard and somebody will give us more. Nobody will give you more. And I have nothing to say in support of this version 1.0. Hi everyone, I'll start from the very beginning. That I won't tell you from which company I come from, but I'd like to clarify certain things. Is there any competition in this case? Let me introduce. Well, so the thing is that in case there's high competitiveness rate, there is no other way out but to accept the situation and the amount of man hours, and then we'll either have to work and accept the tasks the way the market requires, or not to take up these tasks as well. When I was working for another company, I had such situations in my practice. But then what's good about this version? What would you say in favor of this version?
Если
So,
будет
in
неприятно,
favor
но
of
будет
this
так.
company, I can say that if we choose between to get some money and to get no money, I would choose to get some money. It's a standard penalty agreement. Ensures 100% of the contract value return if 3 or 6 critical deficiencies are detected within 6 months. So I'm saying this to tell you that it's a myth that you will get some money instead of no money. Have you ever had any examples when
Человек вот заинтересован.
100% contract value return ever took place? I myself work for Sberbank, but
Коллеги, давайте не вы-
you see the frameworks are
коллеги,
changing.
давайте уберем слово Сбербанк и поставим о том, что
Let's
какие
not
условия
talk
могут быть.
about companies. Let's not talk who is Sberbank, who is not. I'd like to share my opinion in support of version 1.0 because all of us have gone through these cases. All of those who raised their hands up and those who were sitting at the desk also raised their hands. And I think we should be quite honest with ourselves and with our audience, and we could say, yes, once there was time in our lives when we were selling as much as we could sell, otherwise we either stopped testing or we continued testing, bearing losses at this time, and the quality was absolutely unpredictable. It is true, nobody died, but the customers left. It's a sad story. Good evening, my name is Sergey. I'm here, I'm standing and waving my hand. I can't say that I will support version 1.0, but I will not put judgments on this because if we're talking about integration companies or we're talking about outsourcing companies, the experience suggests that in order to win a tender, you have to work within the sum planned by the customer. And testing without making profit is not always the negative scenario for a company. I have experienced and I know certain successful cases when the company was doing testing and had losses. In the end succeeded and got the profit. It was just the solution of start because initially a company proposed lower rates for testers' man-hours work to win the tender, and the testers' rates were very low in that tender, but the company risked. And so it worked out in the end, which means that situation could happen and the outcomes could be positive. Yes, Sergey, such things happen. And we call it this a tender designed for a specific customers, and such customers choose to risk. But let's talk about this in a special roundtable policy of testing in 1.0, 2.0. My name is Elena. I don't agree. Are you in favor of version 1.0? Yes, but I don't agree with the slide where you state that the quality is unpredictable. The quality, it cannot happen that the quality is unpredictable for any transaction. So if you sign up to work for smaller amount of hours, then you just prioritize the tests. No, we are not talking about prioritizing tests. In this case, we just agreed to work for a shorter period of time. Well, you see, we evaluate the quality for the most critical and less critical functionality. So if we have less time, we are going to test most critical functionality. But the point here is that the evaluation of man-hours to perform the testing is done for the critical functionalities, though there are priorities. It is true there are set priorities. I believe that the quality was this way or another predictable. At least you could predict the percentage ratio of the functionality covered by testing and compliant to the requirements, and the percentage of the functionality which is not. Let me tell you a joke. I was one working for a company, and we were about to do acceptance tests. We switched on the box, press the button, green light flashes. That's it. Nothing works. And we're asking, okay, we're writing the acceptance certificate that their software and hardware is not working. Our engineer asks, okay, have you got the green light on? Yes. Then our guy says, okay, the software and hardware device works, but not in the complete full mode. So you see, this is what we talk about priority. And coming back to the predictability of the quality, for instance, you covered 60% of the code with your tests. The remaining 40 were not of that high priority, and you didn't cover it by test. So then, can you really predict the quality? No, you can't. You don't know what the quality is going to be like, good or bad, or will you say that it only works for 50% or 50% not? We can say that the quality is 50% guaranteed and the remaining 50% are just unpredictable. So that's why we cannot say that the quality is unpredictable. Okay, it is unpredictably bad. I think you've just had a bit of a laugh and now we're ready for work. I'd like to really speak about the following topic. A couple of minutes ago, you mentioned that there are tenders that are designed for particular, specific customers. When one of the colleagues told me that you have to work and accept the losses because the company, the customer on the tender simply placed the requirements that are just as they are. So when we're talking about the tender, I think the situation is completely different. If the company accepts tender terms and conditions, it really beats the company for which such a tender was designed. Well, I feel that we misunderstand the tender concept. Let's leave it for now. All these nice wordings are now over, and let's dream a bit.
Okay, let's take the same case, but now we think that it will be 300 man-hours, right? But we want to use anything. So how can we do that? So I liked it a lot, like that we divide it into groups, like 50% for and 50 against. But if you don't want 25, we want 26, 28, what shall we do in this case? We even have some hints here. Okay. Look, this list justifies the algorithm that we showed earlier. Version 1.0 doesn't provide for the highest efficiency, but everyone wants to have the highest efficiency, right? Well, yes, but not everyone is ready to pay for this. Everyone wants the efficiency, but they don't want to pay for that. For example, you have a task and you understand that you take 10 millions, so give them an order to make monkey testing and spend less money. Because Alexander tells about the point number 1 is using the qualification of the testers in the most efficient way, right? Do you have any other ideas? But now we are talking about what, like to feed 300 hours, but have the quality that we want to provide to the customer, not the one that he expects. No, we estimate it as 500, but it was done at some point of time. Okay, we estimated as 500, but get 300. But now we understand that we've got time, and if we think about that, so something that we not seen in the beginning when we've been estimating, we can get now. But 300 hours is only for testing, right? Not including anything else. Okay, then in principle, the next point, using checklists instead of test cases. Well, this is the issue of setting the priorities. We can take the weakest points, But what exactly do we do?
Конкретно, как
But
ты понимаешь, что
exactly,
вот здесь можно,
how
вот здесь
do you understand that here
здесь
you can
у нас, ну, есть
make
какая-то
test case and here you cannot?
мы говорим
Well,
об абстрактном.
we
У
are
нас
now
есть
talking about
такой
some
достаточно такой
abstract
абстрактный,
thing.
на самом деле вполне реально. Просто
Yeah,
вот
but
как
this
это
is
было времени,
abstract,
мы
but
привыкли, ну, типа,
actually it's
авторы прям
quite
чуть-чуть
real.
гораздо меньше.
So, because we
Всё,
were
ты
said
знаешь,
that
что делать.
we paid 2 times less earlier, but well, we have some experience in testing. Even if it's a new project or even if it's not new, it doesn't matter. So we know why we do it, how we do it, and how the users will use it. So correspondingly, we can take the most statistically frequent points, some business logic, main business logic that customer needs from us. And here also we can include the bugs that we call blood from the eyes. For example, when or sore eyes, when the interface is very bad. This is the high-level priority that we should have. So we make brainstorming on what is most risky, what will affect the quality, or what will be the first thing the customer notices. Yeah, so here we just make brainstorm on what can go wrong, right? But we can make a mistake, and then 300 hours we spend on nothing, for nothing. Now, another thing is that if we abandon test cases, it can really influence if you provide some automation in the process. If you have manual testers who transfer the test cases to automation specialists and guys working that. But if you don't have automation and the qualification of the testers is good, then you can use checklist and save quite a lot of time for development of test documentation and fulfill it with the same level of quality, but taking into account the risks. Of course, risks are always there, and we cannot say that economy 2.0 and 1.0 take into account the same risks. But if we look at from the other angle, we have automation and transferring checklist to automation specialist. You can expect that the next morning at 9 a.m. there will be people queuing up and they will ask you, please explain us. But you have to come early in the morning to the office and then you will know everything. But if we give checklists to junior testers, then the queue will be much longer. Yeah. I cannot hear the question. Leonardo da Vinci died and nobody was born. And then new Leonardo was not born instead to replace him. Well, what else? Another comment, right? So we've been discussing it for 5 minutes, but you can say it in 2 words. The design, which you did not include in your presentation, and the prioritization of the test cases to find the weakest places like critical business functionality, etc. Smoke regress. So version 2.0, yeah, well, we understand that we want to reduce the costs to fit the planned budget, but no, we don't reduce anything. No, but using qualification, like using testers of lower qualification to fit this 300 hours, because I think, well, the task of the 2.0 economy is to spend it efficiently, to spend costs so as to get the highest benefit, and it provides not for, so we have to hire cheap juniors and because they and the good testers who can test better. But version 2.0 will same final result, I think. But yeah, but the keyword is like probably or approximately, right? This is a chance. You will have a chance to do that efficiently. Well, the first and the second are quite similar, but this is the same thing from different perspectives. So with test cases, it can be done cheaper, but for in the system cluster testing, there are 70 testers, manual testers, etc. So, and you have to accept work of 10 colleagues from various countries. Earlier you had work for 70 people, but now it's for 80 people plus 10. And now we have another comment. So I considered only version 2.0 because 2.0 is just repeating the same, so we can refuse to accept the responsibility, the risk to lose the customer, and when we switch to 2.2.0 version, this is a very real practical case. Everything that we see here, these are all real practical methods that we use, and some we use more, some we use less, but anyway, it allows us to fulfill the task. And this is the real case, and the first thing that we do, it's not test design, it's because mostly it's all about the scope, about optimizing the scope, minimizing the influence on the quality of the output product. And the first thing we have to notice is how to select critical things. And we use the approach of the statistics from the production, the business scenarios, integration, testing, and we can check which scenarios are used more often. Some features are used in the best business scenarios 1 million times per year, some 1,000 times per year. So, I mean, we have to be focused on those which are more frequent, right? Which are more frequently used. If we don't take that into account, then they look the same. This is this feature, that feature. So, and based on that, we can concentrate on what we really need. We take 95% of what has to be covered, business scenarios, 95% of business scenarios, and filter them. And if we use integration testing, final integration testing, I mean, it's very important. So then we have a team which tests separate systems separately, and correspondingly, we have to work closely with them. It allows the direct communication with them allows to provide this or that quality in different components. What should we take into account? So here we have found 200 bugs, here 10 bugs. So here developers did a better job, the poorer job. So that's why we have to make scope correctly and to see where the risk of an error is high. And the third one is the analysis of the retrospective, previous data, previous releases, and analyze the ratio, the bugs, number of the bugs to the number of test cases in various areas of our system cluster. For example, this feature contained 200 test cases, integration tests, and we have found one bug, and correspondingly, and in the another one there were 20 test cases and we have found 10 bugs. So, but we discussed it with test designs whether we needed 200, why we needed 200, and found only one bug with it, and that's how, by making right focus on the future, we could make it narrower, reducing the total number of the tests. And another one is quite specific, but maybe it will give you a new perspective in your situation.
We didn't work directly in the scope. With the scope, we didn't work with the test process. We're just thinking how we could spend our customers' money in another way, in probably some close areas of activity. And we found out that he spends quite a lot of money on the external subcontractor who was providing simulators for us. And we proposed the customers that we do this by ourselves. It would be cheaper if we could hire some additional personnel instead of providing a simulator. So, meaning we decided and we helped our customer to save his budget.
Несколько человек из этих 10. Вот. Ну и, естественно, данный пункт, наверное, он достаточно очевидный, то есть
So the next clause seems to be quite evident. This is how we optimize regression based on the data received. We had to communicate and deal with the production support team, and our production support team is quite big. And thanks to having regular meetings, they tell us what end customers of our system see, what problems they discover, what difficulties they have in using the system, and that's where we focus our coverage. We are actually quite far from our end users. Imagine the company is Deutsche Telekom and we develop systems for the Russian Telecom. So in Rostelecom, when we arranged a study visit for our testers to see how end users, how the sellers and how the support desk are using our systems, the system which we are testing, then for testers it was just a discovery how it works. And the people there on site told us, okay, I don't know what you are testing, how you are testing, but this functionality doesn't work. For testers, it just seemed there were no bugs, there were no errors detected, but still the functionality was not working. And such study visits gave much more to our testers to understand how the users really operate the systems, and they were able to focus on better designing. So these are just particular cases how it all improved. I'd like to pay your attention to certain issues. In version 2.0, there is a point on how to transfer tasks on simulators developer from vendor to the team. But as soon as the question comes, who pays for that, then it means, okay, we just destroyed somebody else's business by doing so. But such things happen. Does anyone have any comments, or you would like to add anything to what has been said, or you just like to share your opinion, saying, wow, how cool it is? I have a small comment. I agree with Alexander. I work for a company which develops quite specific software, and testers who are sent to study visit on really on sea boats, they say everything is different in the lifetime, because when you see it in a live mode, then you look at what you test from a different point of view, because you see the end product and you approach testing a different way. You mean you detected that it's not possible to use software when there is when the waves in the sea are quite high? Now our company is developing a software for a certain kind of sea boats, and now we're even joking that if the speed is more than 30 inches, then it would be difficult to make this software work. Okay, and we were joking, for instance, we're developing the software for the fitness tracker to check how it behaves when the person is running, and then we're telling, okay, guys, you go to the bar afterwards after you have done this short run and see if it's possible to operate your application or not. Of course, ideally, testers should work with the customer and see what happens at the customer's end. If I could, I would also send the analysts to a site visit, so that they see how the product works. Now it is promoted among developers that out of office trips should be undertaken. Product managers should also go out of office and see how their products are being used in real-time mode. It would be even better if the managers and the testers and the team uses the products by themselves, and as soon as they're able to see how the products are used, they will be able to understand how the business works, and it will be easier for them or to optimize their work. So let's start another case. You're a manager of a company in a project which provides testing service for the company, and the payment model is FP, so it means the fixed scope under a contract. There is a risk of deadlines, fulfillment, and extension of the scope of the works to be performed is minimum. Also, the approaches to evaluation will be different from the point of view of economy 1.0 and 2.0. If we have to think about saving the money, then we'll use the economy 2.0. But if the customer evaluated the project at a certain number of million of rubles, for you it would be easier to hire several leads and make them do market testing. They will be able to implement this project. What do you think of this? Why do we always say that we hire somebody? Do you really think that we hire new people for each new project? We have a company is an operation, we have our team. This could be experienced team or not experienced team. I'm not talking about the changes in the personnel, but we still have people in our payroll. Do you really think that we are going to hire every time personnel for each new project? I didn't hear the word hire. Why we're talking about hiring a personnel? It was, you said this. So if we have a ready tailored team and the team is working and we start a new project and you take people from the existing project to a new project, then what happens to a new project? So by hiring, it doesn't mean that we hire a person just from outside. It may mean that we just transfer people from one project to another one. Well, it's really unwise because, well, if we took one project and then take another one and are not able to cover it by personnel, then what's the point of taking up too much? Okay, we are coming to the economy 1.0. Let's leave it. We'll discuss it later because the next case will be related to the raised topic. Maybe my question is more fit for the next case about hiring. So then do not answer it right now, answer it later. The question is, what our actions should be if a company wins a tender knowing that it won't be able to ensure the necessary number of personnel? For instance, the tender required 150 people and we just didn't have these people. And we had only 2 months to find these 100 people to perform the project. Can I give you a brief answer right now? Okay, I will delegate the answer to this case, to these questions, to our next section called hiring. I have only one simple answer, which is India. This is economy 3.0.
Давайте ответ на ваш вопрос. Как я вижу, да, вы сформулировали вопрос.
My answer to your question, well, would be, you know, you didn't give me details. about the situation. And if you share more detail about the situation, we might have the chances how to solve this. To be honest, your example was a case. Even right now, I can list 10 possibilities of possible solutions. What could be done, what can't be done. One of the solutions would be to hire somebody from India or outsource this project to India. Or if the budget is absolutely endless, you can find somebody on the market. You can buy a new company. You can buy a company with 100 people, employees, if budget
за 2 месяца как бы
allows.
выглядит все равно очень нереалистично. Скорее всего, это растянется,
But
да, и
still,
надо
it
так,
is
делать, чтобы
unrealistic to
передоговариваться на
find
конечном пытаться
150
срока,
people
что все-таки не 2 месяца, а 3,
to
там,
fulfill the
Ну, вот
project. And you will
зачем
have to either
увеличить
finding
это
your
дело,
agreement
да,
with the
чтобы
customer and extend that
ну,
period for
вообще
hiring
задача
these
все-таки
100 people until
реально
3
может быть
months, or
для
maybe split the
отдельного
project
целого
into
большого
stages.
доклада
Well,
про
this seems to be
проект.
quite an unusual task, and that
Ну,
would
давайте
require another
посмотрим,
presentation and
давай.
another detailed discussion.
Выбор будет сделан в пользу версии 2.0.
I'd say the choice would be made in favor of approach 2.0. In the last half an hour, 1 hour and a half, we were talking about the situation that we are going to use less qualified better qualified testers instead of the less qualified ones, who would be able to optimize and who would cost more. No, they would not, because we would hire one senior instead of 2 juniors. And the salary difference will not be that high, and the labor costs will remain. So in the end, while working on this project, they spent 2 days. Oh, guys, we're coming back to these 9 pregnant ladies who should give birth to a child within 1 month. Okay, in your company you have 3 persons, 2 juniors and 1 senior, and you have 2 projects. For one project it's absolutely different. Who is doing for the second project is different, because the second project requires economy 2.0 approach. It's evident that a senior lead will work for the project which requires economy 2.0. But if you change the approaches, it's not going to work. And if you send 2 juniors to the economy 2.0, they won't be able to work on such project because they are not that highly qualified. And if a senior tester takes the responsibility, it's absolutely different if his responsibility is shared between the 2 juniors.
If I understand Alexander's comment right, it means that the estimation can be different with a factor of 10 or even more when they estimate the performance. I mean, the developers and testers. So, yeah, that might happen. Last comment, and we wrap up. So I'd like to ask you about the approach that we've described. For example, if we take 2 middles or 1 senior, and you said that it's better to take 1 senior, but very often in testers' work there is some routine activity where middle can also perform well, but for senior it will be very boring and he won't just do that. No, that's not a silver bullet that we have to take more skilled, not to take middles and juniors. A good skill mix depends on the project. We just have to take a look which exactly skill mix we need, what are the routine or more expert demanding projects. If we need to grow experts within the team, then maybe we can train our middles so that they become senior, and the middles can teach juniors. But there is no panacea, but we just have to think about that. Maybe save something, try to find some optimal solution. But good skill mix, this is quite complex. You have to understand the specific features of the project, where the project is going, and I think you have to understand very well what's exactly there in the company, because you can promote these 15 seniors in the project, but if there are only 7 in the company, that will make no sense. What was that?
Коллеги, спасибо всем,
Okay,
всем большое за участие в дискуссии.
dear colleagues,
Завершающее слово, выводы.
thank you for your participation in the discussion, and let's wrap up. Let's make some final conclusions. And okay, so let's make summary of what we've discussed. So first, economy 2.0 is not some chaotic system. It doesn't mean that we do it today, we do it this way, tomorrow other way, and then justify it. Why? Then economy 2.0 can be based on economy 1.0, and you have to go through it. That's when you pass directly to economy 2.0, it's an exclusion rather than a rule. It's not some common rule, not something like fixed that you have to just switch to 2.0 economy. Andrei told us about the test designs, tester skills. I think for 2.0 economy we can make this checklist. We have left this question without an answer. We had some template to make checklist together, so another option along with test cases discussion. And okay, we're running out of time, so we'll be soon physically escorted out of here. So please put your smile on the door. Don't forget. And also we have to give the prize to the most interesting participant. Let's give it to the young lady whom we asked a lot of questions in the first half of our round table.